Geisterbeschwörung beim Weltwirtschaftsforum und beim G7-Treffen? Eine Organisation der Vereinten Nationen, die nach Luzifer benannt wurde und was sich wie eine wilde Verschwörungstheorie anhört, die sich jemand ausgedacht hat, um irgendwie Aufmerksamkeit im Internet zu erreichen, oder aus Realitätsverweigerung die Probleme der Welt auf die Führung von Satanisten schiebt, ist in Wirklichkeit für das Weltwirtschaftsforum und den G7-Gipfel geplant und öffentlich nachzulesen. Du glaubst mir nicht? Hier, ich zeig's dir. Hier auf der Internetpräsenz von weltweiter guter Wille oder im Englischen Goodwill gibt es eine Sparte mit Kreis der Konferenzen. Und wie wir auf der englischen Seite von Kreis der Konferenzen lesen können, ist aktuell der Fokus auf 3 Konferenzen gelegt. Zum einen das Weltwirtschaftsforum vom 22. bis 26. Mai, daraufhin das G7-Treffen von 26. bis 28. Juni und dann noch die UN Ocean Conference. Was ist die Aufgabe von Goodwill, von Lucis Trust bei diesem Kreis der Konferenzen? Das lesen wir hier. Das Projekt Kreis der Konferenzen des weltweiten guten Willens ist eine weltweite Meditationsgruppe, die sich für eine Visualisation zusammenfindet, um zu helfen, die Atmosphäre geistig zu erleuchten, worauf Weltkonferenzen lebenswichtig angewiesen sind für einen geistigen Fortschritt der Menschheit. Diese Dienstinitiative beinhaltet Gruppeninvokation des göttlichen Willens und das Lenken zum Willen zum Guten für das Gestalten einer speziellen Konferenz. Im Voraus bereitet sie die richtige geistige Atmosphäre vor, in der diese Konferenz stattfinden kann. Diese Gruppe erschafft in der Vorstellung eine leuchtende Saat von Willensenergie und bringt diese in ein pulsierendes Herzzentrum durch das Ausstrahlen von Licht, Liebe und Kraft der großen Invokation für das gesamte Event und die Teilnehmenden. Was ist eine Invokation, was hier zweimal erwähnt wurde? Die Gruppeninvokation oder auch die große Invokation. Hier habe ich den Wikipedia-Artikel zum Thema Invokation. Invokation, lateinisch invocatio, Hineinrufung, ist eine Technik der Magie. Der Ausführende glaubt, ein Geistwesen herbeirufen zu können. Invoziert im engeren Sinne bedeutet hier das Hineinrufen, lateinisch invocare, in den Körper und die Psyche des Magieanwenders. Was ist das für eine Organisation, die diese Invokationen bei den Weltkonferenzen organisiert? Goodwill ist eine Initiative von Lucis Trust. Lucis Trust wurde von Alice Bailey gegründet und das lesen wir darüber in Wikipedia. 1922 gründete sie zusammen mit ihrem Mann die Lucifer Publishing Company, Lucifer Verlagsgesellschaft. In dieser veröffentlichte sie ihre Bücher. Nachdem es wegen der Namensgebung Lucifer, in der christlichen Tradition mit Satan gleichgesetzt, zu Problemen und Missverständnissen gekommen war, änderte sie 1924 den Namen auf Lucis Publishing Company oder Lucis Trust Publishing Company. Später entstand daraus die Dachorganisation Lucis Trust für eine ganze Reihe von ihr ins Leben gerufener Gesellschaften. Lucis ist nur ein anderer Name für Lucifer, in der theosophischen Tradition mit Lichtbringer übersetzt, also positiv gemeint und gab weniger Anlass zu Kritik. Hier wird die Theosophie erwähnt. Theosophie ist die Lehre von Helena Blavatsky. Alice Bailey war eine Schülerin von Helena Blavatsky. Was die Theosophie, Lucis Trust, die Freimaurerei und so gut wie jede andere Mysterienschule verbindet, ist die luziferische Lehre.
Helena Blavatsky lehrte ihre Schüler, dass Satan in Wirklichkeit Gott ist. Es ist nur natürlich, selbst vom Standpunkt der toten Buchstaben aus, Satan, die Schlange der Genesis, als den wahren Schöpfer und Wohltäter, den Vater der geistigen Menschheit zu betrachten. Denn er ist es, der Hüter des Lichts war, der helle, strahlende Luzifer, der die Augen des von Jehova geschaffenen Automatismus öffnete, wie behauptet wird, und er, der als erster flüsterte, »An dem Tag, da ihr davon esst, werdet ihr sein wie Elohim und wissen, was gut und böse ist.« kann nur im Licht eines Erlösers betrachtet werden. Als Gegenspieler zu Jehova, dem personifizierten Geist, bleibt er in der esoterischen Wahrheit immer noch der ewig liebende Bote oder Engel, der Seraphim und Cherubim, der uns sowohl gut kannte, als auch noch mehr liebte und der uns geistige statt körperliche Unsterblichkeit verlieh.
Folgendes erklärt Lucis Trust auf ihrer eigenen Seite. Alice und Foster Bailey waren ernste Schüler und Lehrer der Theosophie, einer spirituellen Tradition, die Luzifer als einen der Sonnenengel betrachtet, jener fortgeschrittenen Wesen, die nach der Theosophie vor Äonen von der Venus auf unseren Planeten herabstiegen, daher der Fall, um dem damaligen Tiermenschen das Prinzip des Geistes zu bringen. Aus theosophischer Sicht war der Abstieg dieser Sonnenengel kein Fall in die Sünde oder Schande, sondern vielmehr ein Akt großer Aufopferung, wie es der Name Luzifer nahelegt, der Lichtträger bedeutet. Die enge Verbindung zur Freimaurerei wird deutlich durch die Buchveröffentlichung von Foster Bailey The Spirit of Masonry, zu Deutsch der Geist der Freimaurerei. Folgendes Zitat ist von Alice Bailey in Bezug auf die Freimaurerei. Die Hüterin des Gesetzes, sie ist die Heimat der Mysterien und der Sitz der Einweihung. Sie hält in ihrer Symbolik das Ritual der Gottheit fest und der Weg der Erlösung wird in ihrem Werk bildhaft bewahrt. Die Methoden der Gottheit werden in ihren Tempeln demonstriert und unter dem allsehenden Auge kann die Arbeit voranschreiten. Sie ist eine weitaus okkultere Organisation, als man sich vorstellen kann, und soll die Ausbildungsschule für die kommenden fortgeschrittenen Okkultisten sein. In ihren Zeremonien verbirgt sich die Beherrschung der Kräfte, die mit dem Wachstum und dem Leben der Naturreiche und der Entfaltung der göttlichen Aspekte im Menschen verbunden sind. Das Verständnis seiner Symbolik verleiht die Kraft, mit dem göttlichen Plan zusammenzuarbeiten. Es entspricht dem Bedürfnis derer, die auf dem ersten Strahl des Willens und der Macht arbeiten.
Hier sehen wir, wie ein Freimaurer der Schreinerbruderschaft außerhalb einer Loge nach Luzifer gefragt wird.
Okay, define Lucifer for me.
Pure, virtuous, wholesome, innocent individual that's out to help people.
Lucifer is?
Yeah.
Say that again. Lucifer is a pure, holy,
Virtuous.
Now, is he the Lucifer that God created?
That's the same one.
What are we doing, if anything, to address these issues, and what would you like to see the U.S. government do to address these issues?
The forum is an independent, neutral organization. No. I forum is independent, neutral organization.
And I have to say, when I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. Mm-hmm. But what we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
And that's true in Argentina too. Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's true in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now. Mm-hmm. I'm with the president, who is a young global leader. But what is important for me?
We have, if I look at our stakeholders,
We have business, of course, as a very important audience, and we have politics. We have continuous partnerships with many governments around the world. And of course, we have NGOs, we have trade unions, we have all those different parts.
Media, of course.
Media, of course, and very important experts and scientists and academia. Because if we are looking at the future, I think we should look at new solutions, and the new solutions will be very much driven by technological developments.
And we even have, you even have religious leaders, right?
We have religious leaders, we have social entrepreneurs, very important social entrepreneurs.
Let's look at things like gene editing.
Exactly.
You know, opening a whole new horizon for medical science.
And you see, the difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing, it changes you. If you take genetic editing,
right.
Just as an example, it's you who are changed.
Yeah.
And of course, this has a big impact on your identity.
Yeah. And offers certain kinds of possibilities that have to be careful about. You know, when you began to do that kind of gene editing, some people worry that you are changing what it means to be human.
That's the problem. And of course, the new industrial revolution offers us many opportunities, but it raises manifold questions on the ethical, but even legal implications. And we have to be prepared for it. And that's what we want to do in Davos next year.
To order, brethren, to receive the most merciful, the Grand Master.
Self-evident, Brother Franklin, all men are created equal.
Indeed, Brother Washington, all Freemasons meet as equals, and we have an opportunity to create a nation in the very essence of Masonic morality. It would be wonderfully symbolic, don't you think?
You'll be wanting to put the all-seeing eye on our banknotes next.
You think I'm taking it a bit far?
Please don't ask me questions like that, Brother Franklin. You know I cannot tell a lie.
Oh, come on, Brother Washington. Everybody lies occasionally, surely, especially politicians.
Not me. Not even so much as an alternative fact.
We must all be aware of fake news.
The people must be free to think what they like as well. We can have no thought police in our new society. The foundation stone of our new nation built on all those principles that we hold dear.
The plans for our new capital city already have a very Masonic feel to them, yeah.
Candidate for initiation into the order, I'm giving him a little introduction into some of our mysteries. These two gentlemen are founding an entire nation built on our principles.
We have great promises for our new nation. You know, I wonder if other presidents after me will also be Freemasons.
Many will be. And Freemasonry will become embedded in the American culture. And the eye will appear on the banknotes.
Oh, God.
These principles will be honored with a gift from your French brethren. A gift that will be a welcoming beacon to the poor and oppressed.
This is the statue we are giving you.
It's a bit small, isn't it?
Oh, this is a maquette. The real thing is bigger. Much, much bigger. I call her Liberty Enlightening the World.
Catchy. America will produce a great many great Americans from many different walks of life and many different fields, and many will be Masons. Sportsmen, actors, writers, soldiers, filmmakers, businessmen, inventors, astronauts.
What on earth is an astronaut?
No, they're not.
I don't follow.
Well, they're not on Earth, they're in space. In fact, Brother Buzz Aldrin was the second man to walk upon the surface of the moon.
That's the best thing I've heard this evening.
What, that a Mason walked on the moon?
Man on the moon. Amazing. But don't forget the musicians. Do not forget the musicians.
Known as that rule of three again. The 3 degrees.
Freemasonry has burned as a blazing fire through the last 3 centuries.
As permanent master of these 3 lodges, I now call on my deputy masters.
Most Worshipful Grand Master, on behalf of the Brethren of Royal Somerset House.
Most Worshipful Grand Master,
our ceremonies and forever remind us of our incomparable heritage and the birth of organised Freemasonry.
Stressing the deep and sincere loyalty and affection felt by the Brethren of the United Grand Lodge of England for their Grand Master.
We leave the Royal Albert Hall even more proud of our ancient institution.
Most Worshipful Grand Master, I humbly ask you to complete the initiation of this worthy candidate for Freemasonry.
I hereby read the text of a letter sent today to Buckingham Palace. May it please your Majesty, we, the representatives of over 200,000 Freemasons under the United Grand Lodge of England, most respectfully express our continuing loyalty to your Majesty's throne and person in this, the 66th year of your long and distinguished reign, of His Royal Highness the Duke of Kent, as our much loved and greatly respected Grand Master. We humbly thank God for preserving our order and fervently pray His blessings on your Majesty, so that our loyal devotion to your Majesty may long continue. Given at the Royal Albert Hall this 31st day of October, Anno Domini 2017. Her Majesty has been pleased to reply in the following terms. The Queen has asked me to thank you for your kind letter of loyal greetings on behalf of the representatives of the Freemasons under the United Grand Lodge of England, which are being celebrated on the 31st of October at the Royal Albert Hall. Her Majesty appreciated your thoughtfulness in writing as you did.
I had the pleasure of meeting 136 Grand Masters visiting from overseas at Freemasons Hall yesterday. Today, though, we are a meeting of more than 4,000, gathered from all around the world, from our own constitution and beyond. When the global Masonic family comes together to celebrate our past and to renew our own pride and confidence in and enthusiasm for Freemasonry.
An advocate for the craft all over the world, continuing 3 centuries of distinguished royal tradition at the very heart of English Freemasonry.
To order, brethren! To order, brethren, to receive the most worshipful, the Grand Master.
Our second stop in New York City is the United Nations headquarters, which was built in 1945 and financed largely by John D. Rockefeller. Inside UN headquarters is an ominous meditation room. The custodian of the meditation room is Lucis Trust Company. At one time, the Lucis Trust was located at 666 United Nations Plaza and was formerly named Lucifer Publishing Company. The Rockefeller-funded UN Meditation Room is 33 feet long and 18 feet wide. 18 feet is 6 plus 6 plus 6. The small, dimly lit, windowless room was built in the shape of a pyramid that is laying on its side. At the center of the room is a 4-foot-high, black, casket-shaped stone slab which weighs 6.5 tons and is extremely magnetic and rests on a concrete pillar. The pillar descends beneath the floor into the bedrock and taps into the Earth's hyperdimensional energies to induce a state of altered consciousness. Not far from the meditation room is the United Nations Security Council chamber. This is the emergency room of the UN, where the world leaders meet when there is a threat to peace. They decide the fate of nations. Even though Israel has over 200 uninspected nuclear weapons and has violated dozens of resolutions, no sanctions are ever imposed because of the United States' veto powers. Notice the giant mural that towers over the Security Council room. The central focus of the UN mural is the phoenix bird that has risen. The phoenix bird is a symbol of Lucifer. Egyptians believed that the phoenix symbolized a god who rose to heaven in the form of a morning star like Lucifer after his fire immolation of death and rebirth. Notice that the phoenix bird is not standing above his own ashes. He is standing above his old skin. Like a snake, he has shed his old skin and is revealing himself as God at the center of the mural.
Ah, Monsieur Solari, Monsieur Solari.
Dass wir verspätet sind. Wir wissen, der Gotthardtunnel ist sozusagen, das Herz hat jemand geschrieben und die Aorta fehlt noch. Und deshalb ist unser Verkehrsminister jetzt mit großer Intensität dabei, die Rheinschiene auch möglichst schnell voranzubringen. Es wird noch dauern. Wir wissen, dass wir verspätet sind. Wir wissen, der Gotthardtunnel ist sozusagen, das Herz hat jemand geschrieben und die Aorta fehlt noch. Und deshalb ist unser Verkehrsminister jetzt mit großer Intensität dabei, die Rheinschiene auch möglichst schnell voranzubringen. Es wird noch dauern.
Im engeren Sinne bedeutet hier das Hineinrufen, lateinisch invocare, in den Körper und die Psyche des Magieanwenders.
Mentioned in every ancient society under different names. And these are interesting to me. This is what they're called by some Central American shaman, the flyers, just a name. We have the demons in Christianity. We have the archons, that is the name for these entities of the Gnostic belief and the Gnostic writings from like 2,000 years ago, around that period and later. And the Islamic jinn, because the way all of these entities or phenomenon are described is precisely the same in effect. They're different names for the same thing. And the archons, as the Gnostics called them, were said to be made from luminous fire. The jinn from Islamic and pre-Islamic Arabia was said to be made of smokeless fire. And when you look at what's said about, they're talking about the same force, the same phenomenon. Nag Hammadi in Egypt, a sealed jar of Gnostic writings was found hidden. This is what they talk about in these writings. They talk about the Lord Archon, or what they call the Demiurge, and the archons that serve the Demiurge and the Lord Archon, as they call him. People call Satan or the devil as well. That these archons, jinn, different names, have the ability to create fake realities, to distort reality, counter-mimicry, to give people the view or the feeling of a perception that seems real but isn't. mind parasites, they possess the mind and influence the mind in a negative way, particularly in a negatively emotional way. The one word they say that can absolutely describe the archons is deception. And also they say that one of their great means of operation, modus operandi, is to invert everything. That's what they're doing, counter-mimicry. They are inverting what is already created so it becomes something else. And it's no accident that one of the great forces that worship these archons within human society, what we call Satanism, use inversion as part of its symbolism. The inverted cross, the inverted five-pointed star.
All these pictures are by Neil Haig, by the way. Anything that looks like this. Great friend of mine, great artist. And this image symbolizes the fact that he looks at him with invisible light and he sees George Bush. Nothing else. What people don't see, because it's outside the frequency range of their decoding system, is there are entities around these people who are actually controlling these people's thoughts, actions, etc. A number of psychics have said to me around the world how they've seen people walking along the street or wherever, and then they've seen like an ethereal reptilian entity locking into these bottom two chakra points, the emotional level, one of them is, and floating around with them. And this is a kind of a good analogy. You know when there's scientists in a laboratory and they're trying to work with something that they can't touch because it's too dangerous, what they're working with will be in a tank, and they'll put gloves on, which allows them to be outside the tank, but to manipulate inside the tank. Well, that is a very good symbol of what I'm talking about. These Illuminati bloodlines, these hybrid bloodlines, operate like those gloves, operating inside this reality. And Neil symbolizes these Illuminati families with invisible light as this bearded man. Whenever you see him as we go along, that is symbolic of the Illuminati families controlled beyond human sight